Good morning, everyone. I'm Ziad Ahmed. I'm the CEO and founder of JUV Consulting. I'm 23 years old. I use he, him pronouns. And I'm so excited to be here today to talk a little bit about something that I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot about this week, Generation Z. And what we know to be true is Generation Z is important and powerful. Generation Z is 32% of the world's population, making us the largest generational cohort in the world. And we are those born after 1996 until those born around 2010. I was born in 99, making me on the older end of Gen Z. But currently, every middle schooler, high schooler, and college student is a Gen Zer. And our power is not hypothetical. It is present and it is palpable. We control hundreds of billions of dollars in spending power, and our influence on familial spending is even higher. And we are constantly reinventing how commerce works through facts like our changing attention span that gets quoted all the time. Our average attention span is 8 seconds, and hopefully I've caught your attention so far, because I know I don't have too much time today to talk to you all. But there's a lot to get through when we talk about the nuances of Gen Z, because we are the most diverse generation to date, especially in a Western context. We're looking at a very, very heterogeneous group of people that is constantly asking ourselves, how do we protect the most vulnerable amongst us? How do we pivot the conversation forward? Because our mindset is pluralistic. Generation Z is the generation of we. When we're thinking about who we are and what we are, we're thinking about how there's many of us and the intersectionality between us. Because if it isn't you, it's somebody that you know or somebody that you love that is affected. And we're growing up in an ecosystem that is so inundated with content. But we have the best bullshit filter of any generation out there because we've been so adept at parsing through that content. And so we're looking for authenticity that cuts through the noise, that gives me something that works and tells it like it is. And what we're demanding in terms of inclusivity is not just a seat at the table. We don't want the table if it wasn't built for us, if it wasn't built for people who look like us and who love like us. And so we're thinking about what does it look like to build new tables? What does it look like to disrupt everything as we know it? To say just because things have been this way doesn't mean they have to stay this way. And to instead say, no, we get to reimagine different. We get to reimagine better. And we get to hustle to make that world come to fruition because we need it. Our lives have been bookmarked by 9/11 and COVID-19, and those are sobering realities to have to contend with. And in the midst, we have seen warfare, and we've seen corruption, and we've seen so many take advantage of who we are. And so we're saying these things aren't working. So we're gonna communicate differently. We're gonna get up on stages at 23 and tell it like it is, even if politics might not be comfortable in a lot of business rooms. And we're gonna use vernacular that's distinct to us and build upon generations of innovation. And to move from just the digital to in-person, I think a lot of people look at us and like, oh, like we want to spend so much time in the metaverse. Like, maybe not. Like, I love being here with you all. And I think the future is phygital. It's taking what we're learning from TikTok that is disrupting everything as we know it and bringing that into the real world. Because 61 million of us are entering the workforce right now, and you all know it. You're having to manage us, and it might be tricky and complicated. I have to manage Gen Zers too. It's tricky and complicated. Because we're bringing new perspectives, and we are reimagining. That's uncomfortable, but it's important, right? And we're entering the real world, and we're really done with business as usual, and I think many of us are too. And so this moment is about trying to figure out how we can be better through intergenerational dialogue. And that's why I'm so thrilled to be here, to be a part of that conversation, because the major takeaway that I have, why I do the work that I do, is without talking to us, how can you market to us? How can you understand to us? So I'm really excited to keep the conversation going. Thank you all so much for having me.